To discuss that further, and I'm joined by Chris McGrane, who is an activist and political commentator, who's joining us live now via Skype from Lancashire. Chris, thanks for joining us here on Press TV. How important do you think it is to keep the cause of Palestine alive?
It is very important, and I think I'd actually go further than the Iranian leader in saying that the fight against Israel is actually a fight against imperialism as a whole. After all, Israel is a continuation of British rule in the area. Once the British lost control, the State of Israel was declared. Many of the same brutal policies that the British put in place in Palestine have been continued, such as the mandatory detention, where the Israelis will arrest somebody for throwing stones and keep them in confinement up to 6 months without charge. At that point, they will renew the charge. So there hasn't been much of a split of policy since the British did control Palestine. In many ways, there are many comparisons that can be made between what's happened in Israel and, say, what happened in South Africa. So the mass apartheid that is going on in Palestine is very similar. In fact, Nelson Mandela once said that our freedom is not complete without the freedom of the Palestinians. And this isn't just an Arab issue anymore. We now have in Israel who are now interfering globally in politics. We have seen it in America, the way they have influenced the US elections through their lobbies, such as AIPAC. In the British political sphere, we also saw, I think Al Jazeera did an expose not so long ago where they infiltrated the Labour Party's Friends of Israel, where they showed that Israel were trying to influence British politics also. So this ideology of Zionism is all-consuming. They are trying to move public opinion into a very racist and very dangerous, violent, volatile direction. In many ways, you can say that the Zionism is also a crime against Jewish people themselves. Hitler believed that Jews had no place in Europe. Netanyahu believes this same thing. He is telling all Jews to leave their land and come to effectively come and steal somebody else's land with them. Nazism and Zionism go hand in hand in so many ways. The saying that they say in Palestine, the only thing that the Zionists learn off the Nazis is how to be them. For the last few decades, there hasn't really been any Arab nations that have been able to stand up to Israel other than Syria. Since Egypt is now under the control of General Sisi, they are complete puppets of Israel as well. It's the same old divide and conquer. Israel have managed to use their financial gains that have been largely given to them by American imperialism and the British Empire to line the pockets of so-called Arab and Muslim leaders and pull them into their direction, filling them with corruption that has now taken over the whole area. You've got countries such as Saudi Arabia who always call in term Wahhabi Zionism. They are now two parts of the same, two faces of the same coin. They're indistinguishable from each other, and Israel have done everything they can to throw every wedge into the Arab world and the Muslim world to cause divisions and cause conflict, and I don't see this stopping anytime soon.
And Chris, obviously these Quds Day rallies are already disliked by Israel, of course, and its supporters throughout the world. What really irks them about them?
Sorry, can you repeat that? Sorry, I didn't hear.
What really annoys, do you think, Israel and its allies about these international Quds Day rallies?
Well, because this is highlighting the Palestinian issue. The West don't want any mention of Palestine anymore. It takes so much to even get certain states to recognize Palestine as a state. You have organizations such as Facebook now, which will do anything it can to remove any news that comes from Palestine. They don't want anything getting out. As far as they're concerned, Israel is the land of tolerance and the only democracy in the Middle East, and that's how they like to portray their narrative. You cannot have a democracy under apartheid. Those two things it's an oxymoron. When a certain percentage of the population is excluded from the democratic process, then that cannot be a democracy. Israel, at best, it was always it was a British puppet state to start with. Since America has become the dominant empire of the world, it has now passed over to the American League. it is a sphere of influence, and they don't want to lose that influence. They don't want any alternative message coming out. Anytime anybody rallies for peace or rallies for the Palestinian cause, that message will be quickly shut down, and those people will be called terrorists and extremists, no matter how peaceful their demands are.
Okay, Chris, we'll leave it there at that, but of course, we do appreciate you taking your time to speak to us here at Press TV.